Here are 11 ways that you can use your business book in order to make more money than you ever thought possible by only having a book. Now, if you haven't already got a business book, then let's talk about your knowledge, your experience, your expertise, and of course the magic ingredient, which is your take on it. So the number one way of making money with your information is obviously with a book. And you can use that book by having it on your website so people can buy a soft copy, a hard copy, a download copy, the first 3 chapters, and all of those can be a variety of different prices from free all the way up to the price of an expensive hardback book. Secondly, with the book itself, you could use it if you're a speaker, you could use it as a conference gift, but albeit that the people who are organising the conference pay you for it, and then all the people in the conference get a copy of it. And I've done all of these things, by the way. You could then take that book and turn it into a variety of other ways of making money. I've got a list of 92 ways to do this, but for today I'm going to give you another 10. The second one is this: instead of taking your tips booklet and converting that into a book, so it's a bigger version, an expanded version of the tips booklet, you go in reverse and you take your book, your business book, and you convert it into a tips booklet, because then it sells at a different price and can be used in a different way. To give you an example, I was speaking for a client of mine. They're a big insurance company. I was training 2,000 people. And I said to the insurance company, why don't I take one of my tips booklets, rebrand it in your colours, and each person who was trained, it was over a series of events, about 250 people, 8 events, each of them goes away with a copy of the tips booklet, which is the content that I will be talking about when I'm giving my presentation. That was 2,000. I charged them £5 a piece in their colours. That was £10,000. A client of mine sent out some of her tips booklets as direct mail to banks. Her content was dealing with difficult people. One of the banks came back to her and said, we absolutely love it. Can we have, funny enough, 2,000 of them? She charged £5 a piece. £5 times 2,000 is another £10,000. You can use the tips booklet in a variety of different ways. Let me give you one crazy way. You could use it as a change of address card. So there's another way of using the tip booklet. The third way of doing it is to take the content of your book or your knowledge, experience, expertise and take on it and convert it into a 4-ring binder, a solid 4-ring binder that goes out in the post when people buy it. And it's got the content of the book, but you've got additional material in there, additional templates, additional action plans, links back to your website. Maybe even you put a CD or a DVD or another disc or some other way of taking information. And by the way, don't think that CDs and DVDs are dead. They're not. So you could put that in it. And that 4-ring binder, rather than the book that sells at, let's say, about £10 for the softback and about £20 for the hardback, that will sell at about £100. Just because it's in a 4-ring binder and done in a totally different way. So that's number 3. Number 4, what about if you took that information and you turned it into we'll call it a coaching program, but it could be a coaching program or a mentoring program. Let me give you an idea of what I've done with some of mine. I've taken a mentoring program where I've invited people to join my mentoring program. They've paid £500 per month each, so that's £6,000 a year. There was 20 of them, so that was 120,000 a year, and I was running 2 at a time. That's 240,000 a year, and I was running that for about 7 years in that particular way. Then I did a bigger group where there was 80 members at a slightly reduced price, but this is the same information but expanded and advanced, and of course a lot more time and delivered in a totally different way. So here's a side note for you. It's the way in which you deliver this information that makes the difference to the price. And of course, it also changes based on the number of people that you are doing it with, 4 or 2, at the time that you're actually doing it. Number 5, what about a subscription or membership program? I've run subscription programs using my information. I ran the Achievers Edge, as it was then called. That's way back when it was written a cassette, then a CD, paper-based, then online, and now as a webinar series. And at one stage, we had an average of 1,500 subscribers to the Achievers Edge over a 13-year period, and they were paying £13 per month, and there's 1,500 of them for a 13-year period. You can work that out. Well, I'll give you a rough one. It's about £3 million. So that's another way that you can take the same knowledge, experience, and expertise, and you're not mischarging in any way. What you're doing is you're delivering it at different prices, price elasticity, subject to how many people, how it's delivered, and the way in which you're helping people get the outcome they want from your particular material. What about doing it as a home study course? This obviously could be online, or it could actually be physically delivered. Let me give you an idea from years ago, and I'll bring this up to date as well. There's a famous book which is called The Golden Mailbox, which was written by Ted Nicholas and Stuart Goldsmith. And what they did, that book was sold hardback at about £20–25. But then they converted that into a 10-part home study course where each part was charged £22.97. And they put a lot of people through this brilliant program, by the way. The Golden Mailbox, all about how to use direct mail and sell informational products. But £22.97 per episode. So that's a total of £229.70 for the home study course instead of £20 for the book. So there's another way of doing that. And of course, these days you could put that online effectively like what's often called a part work or a continuity program, but for a fixed period of time. Or you could make it open-ended. Then here's another way. Now, this is the key to making quite a lot of money, is to take your knowledge, experience, expertise, and your take on the ideas you put in a business book, if you've created one yet, and I would urge you to do so, and turning that, with advanced material added to it, of course, into a webinar series. Here's a little process you can use. I call this 136. And basically what you do is you create a 1 hour plus webinar, which may or may not be free or a very low price. And on that 1 hour webinar, what you offer to people who enjoyed that material, and you give great value, obviously, you don't just talk about why and what, you actually talk about how to use the ideas that you're doing. Here's an idea for you as well, a little expression I wrote. If you teach people what, you'll get paid. If you teach people how, you'll get wealthy. Right? So that's my take on that. So you could have the one, which is free, which offers then a 3-part training program at, again, a lowish price. I'll give you an idea. We do quite a lot of these at the £100 mark. One free, 3-part program at £100. And then in the 3-part program, you offer the 6-month program. And the 6-month program is approximately £500 per month per person. So you can see that if you get free, you get no pay. But then if, let's say, for example, on your paid one, let's say you're charging £100 and you get, 100 people. So that's about £10,000. Then you move into your advanced program, your masterclass program, and that's webinar based. And that's, say, over a 6-month period. And let's say you get 30 people at £500, and that's for 6 months. So at 30 people at 2,500. So it's 60, 70, 75,000. So you've got the idea of how that converts into money. And any variation, it doesn't need to be 1, 3, 6. It can be 1, miss the 3, and straight into the 6. So that's another way of doing it. What about doing a seminar? I've done a lot of seminars over the last 30 years when I've been helping coaches, consultants, speakers, and trainers to share their knowledge, experience, expertise, and their take on it. And so, for example, I used to do a 1-day seminar at £67. We'll be redoing these again soon. And from there, we would make an offer into a weekend event, which was at £2,000 a head. Now, if you put 25 people in the room at £2,000 a head, that's £50,000. I know I'm not talking a lot about money today, but that was the purpose of this particular video. Sometimes we've had 60 people in a room. Sometimes we've had 15 people in a room. All sorts of different ways. And then, of course, on the weekend event, and I've done 2 days and 3 days at different sort of prices, you could then offer perhaps a 12-month or extended period mentoring program that you could do that with. Number 9, using your book, your knowledge, experience, expertise, particularly as a book with its title, as a lead magnet. For me, a book is the ultimate lead magnet. It's the most fantastic thing to actually do with your knowledge, experience, expertise, and your take on it. What about number 10? What about training the trainer? Something else I've done, I've taken one of my major programs, which I took the book, which was one of my books called Steady Way to the Top, years and years ago, 30 odd years ago I wrote it. And I converted it into a 36 module program. And each module had, at those days, it's online now, but a DVD, a CD, a workbook, templates, you name it, massive big, came in a big box about the size of a small TV. And it sold at £3,000. Book sells at 10, this sells at 3,000. Obviously a lot more material, lots of 36 videos, 36, etc., etc. But then I took that program and converted it into a train the trainer program by adding a load of extra material about how to use it if you're a coach or consultant. And that program sold, and I did that as a joint venture with somebody, at £4,000 per person. These days, it'd be a lot more than that, more like £10,000 a person, to actually learn how to train and use those business growth models, because the program was called the Accelerated Business Growth System, with their clients or with new clients. And obviously they could make a lot of money doing that. So there's another opportunity, is to take your knowledge, experience and expertise and teach other people how to teach it to others. And the final one here, number 11, is this, is if you help someone solve problems or capitalize on opportunities, whether they're individuals or businesses, I wonder if you have any follow-up material. This is based on what's called the Ebbinghaus curve of forgetting, is that a lot of people forget the information that they're trained. But if you have follow-up material that enables you to effectively retrain them or remind them over a period of time, this can make your program so much more powerful. It can also make you a lot of money, and rightfully so. Again, an example, years ago, and I've got different versions these days, but years ago, when I first did this, probably nearly 30 years ago, I created a 15 module program. There were 2 cassettes, this is how long ago it was, in each module. And so there was a total of 30 cassettes, and the program sold for £300. And when I was doing sales training with corporates and training their sales teams, I wouldn't do the training unless each member of the sales team had a copy of this program so they could review the material. But they couldn't have it all at once, they could only have it monthly. So this did a number of things. Number one, it helped the program work even better because they were able to review the material. The managers were able to help coach them with it. It made it more powerful for me in the sense of my program was being better received and getting better results. Yes, I made extra money out of it. The client was quite happy with the costing of all of that type of thing, but it did something else. That client was then, not keen on the expression, but you all know what I mean, locked into me with this particular training for 15 months. So if somebody else came along and said, oh, I can provide sales training for your sales team, they would say, oh, no, we're doing a program with Peter Thomson. So this is just another way. So let me quickly run through those, make sure you have the right stuff here. Let me quickly run through that list for you again. So it's using the book as Conferences Back of the Room. It's using it as a tips booklet, using it as a 4-ring binder, using it as a coaching program, or a subscription or membership program, or an online home study course, or a webinar series, or a seminar series, or a lead magnet, or train the trainer, or even as a follow-up program. Now, I'm certain that you can take those ideas away and you can use those to turn your knowledge, your experience, your expertise, and your take on it into an awful lot of money by helping other people get the outcome that they want. I wish you success. By the way, if you want me to help you do that, I've got a book writing course, 3-hour course coming up soon. There should be a link to it somewhere here. And there's also lots of my other videos all about how to take what you know and turn it into cash by helping people. So in the meantime, I continue to wish you massive success in all your adventures in life. What a business you and I are in, taking what we know, helping other people succeed and getting paid for doing it. I love it. See you soon. Bye for now.